Welcome back to another Moto Bob thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
we're
Hi,
here.
I'm Justin.
Hello, I'm
That's
Nathan.
Nathan.
I'm
Um,
the self-appointed judge of all things Bob Ross.
we're still having a lot of fun with video options. We're easily entertained.
Yeah, yeah. But isn't that what we are here?
Yeah, I think so.
We're
Easily entertained. Yeah.
no, self-appointed judges.
Oh, we certainly are that. Yes.
Yeah, we're judging with no proper qualifications in any way. Um,
We're
and
just
here we are.
white dudes. That's all. That's all we needed.
That's it. If you are a white male, you are legally allowed to judge anything.
It's
It's
true.
it's the rule.
Yeah.
Um,
Historically, presently.
I didn't
Yeah.
make the rule. I'm not for the rule. It's just the rule.
Has
Um,
has life got you beaten down? Are you tired? Do you look like you've been pounded in the face with a side of beef?
oh,
Welcome to
vivid.
welcome to Nothing But a Bob Thing. We're going to help you with that. We're going to help center you,
No, N- you're
calm you.
over. You're overselling what we're doing here. We're not.
Okay,
We're not in the calming business. We're not in the soothing, making people feel better business. We're here to get down to the brass tacks of did Bob screw something up?
I like that. Okay, well, we're going to find out about that tonight. It's
Yes, we are.
season 7, episode 4. We will be covering Mountain Cabin in its entirety. But first, do we have any Bob news or Bob tidbits?
Um, so we have to have a discussion here.
Yeah.
Um, on Twitter, our old pal Dom Kizzle,
Oh,
you can
Dom
go check
Kisley,
him
yes.
out on Twitch, posed a question for us that we need to discuss and figure out an answer for. Um,
Specifically for us?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Do you think Bob Ross was a brute guy or an Old Spice guy?
Oh, that's a deep question.
Brute
Okay.
or Old Spice?
Hmm. I
He,
could see that going either way.
not to sway you, he went with Old Spice.
He went
Um,
with Old Spice.
yeah.
Hmm. I feel, my granddad was an Old Spice guy.
Uh-huh.
And
Does Bob remind you of, your granddad?
in one way I mean, in the fact that they were both Southerners, I guess that's about all I can say.
Right.
Um, and we're not talking about deodorants here, people. We're talking about the liquid
Yeah, yeah.
cologne stuff that you splash on your neck
Mhm.
having shaved your daily shave, which I guess
R
Bob wouldn't have done
right.
necessarily.
So I think it's important, I've pulled up a couple ads for
Okay.
comparison here.
Oh, I like this.
Okay, so
Oh,
this is our Old Spice ad. I believe it said 1973, 1973.
wow. That looks like the 50s.
Yeah, so a descriptor for those who, are still only listening to us. By the way, go to YouTube, follow us. You should
Yeah,
do
you can
that.
watch us too.
Um, there is a man in an undershirt shaving with a woman in a pink dress, apparently aroused by his
Uh,
shaving. I'm not
I,
sure what that look is.
she's certainly intrigued.
She likes the shaving.
Yes. Definitely
She,
does.
she's a big fan of the shaving, and he's very happy that she likes it. So
Yes.
that's the Old Spice aftershave lotion vibe.
Everyone's excited. It does have a nautical theme. My granddad was a sailor in the Navy, so
Uh huh.
I don't know if there's any Navy Air Force difference here.
Right. Okay. So now Brute. Um, a lot more,
Oh my god.
a lot more badass.
He looks like freaking Serpico. He looks
Uh
like
huh.
Al Pacino,
Yeah.
but
It
like
is.
40 pounds stronger.
So a man who uses Brute apparently has a metal eye patch, um, and smokes a fairly small cigar,
Yeah, but a
which,
cigar nonetheless.
well, as we've discussed, at length in our lives, It means he's not overcompensating for something with
Right.
that cigar
Correct.
size. So,
Yes.
um, and he's gripping that brute uh, with brute strength, I guess is really the only way you can describe it, while
And
a
there's a
woman caresses his face.
yeah, yes. I'm gonna say, Bob gives off a lot of sexual energy
Mhm.
sometimes. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say he's a brute guy.
I
Definitely a
see,
brute guy.
I think he's more of an Old Spice guy, though, because there
Okay.
was still sexual energy in that ad,
There
and
was.
I think that's more Bob's level of sexual energy. I don't think he was, I just oozing pure sex everywhere
I'm
he
not
went.
so sure, man. I'm not so sure. Well, we're split on this one. It's a
Yeah,
50-50, Dom. One way or the
so
other. I guess
but
he's the tiebreaker.
yeah, he's the tiebreaker. He said Old Spice. So, I want him to be a brute guy. I would love I would love an episode of this where Bob comes out in a metal eye patch, just smoking, going, "All right, let's do it," and just starts painting.
It would be pretty amazing. I would be into it.
That would be bonus points out the wazoo. I
Oh
don't
my
I don't even
god.
care what the painting is. He's getting 100 on that episode for sure.
You can just skip to the end and give him
Yeah,
an
yeah. We don't even need to watch the painting part of it. He did fine. It's great. Whatever.
A. We loved it. All right. Mountain Cabin, Nathan.
Yes.
Original air date October 23rd, 1985. Almost lands on my first birthday, but not quite. Couple of
So
days.
close.
And I was curious about this. Mountain Cabin is a really generic title.
Mhm.
So I look back at seasons past. We have had, similar to Mountain Cabin, we've had High Chateau, which I think
Uh-huh.
you'll remember,
I remember that.
Mountain Mountain Challenge, Mountain Waterfall,
Okay.
Mountain Blossoms, Mountain Retreat,
Okay.
Mountain Waterfall twice.
Oh,
We had
boy.
Mountain Waterfall season 2 episode 12 and season 5 episode 1.
I feel like we need to go back and figure out which mountain waterfall was the better, like, what's the ultimate mountain waterfall?
I completely agree. I think that's a great idea. We had Mountain Lake and we had Autumn Mountains. Those are just a few of the mountain related
Mhm.
episodes we've had. But tonight is Mountain Cabin.
Right. Um, so did any of those others have a cabin? Do you know?
High Chateau definitely does. I don't
No, it
remember. Oh,
had a
Mountain.
chateau.
Oh, we had a big debate about this, didn't we? Mountain Retreat, I think, might have had a cabin, but I'd have to
Okay.
look.
Okay. So this is well-tread ground. We've done
Well
this.
tread. Well
Um,
tread.
so, I
Take
mean,
us in, Mr. Ross. Here we go.
I'm glad you could join me today. Today, I think we'll really do a fantastic little painting it'll bring a lot of good thoughts and right to your heart here.
Not much of an intro.
no, he jumped right into this one. He's been doing that more and more this season. Just no
Yes.
nonsense. Let's get started. Um,
I think this episode is just chock full. Not really of a lot of stories of anything, but it's just painting all the
nonstop.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a constant painting. We I mean, we get sky, we get mountains, we get trees, we get a cabin, we get water, we get more trees, we get more trees, we get more trees, we get more trees. And then
I know. I know.
then it
I
ends.
know. Yeah. And rocks and reflections and
Mhm.
bushes, everything. It sticks. This
Yeah.
this and a little cabin. This has got everything. It really does.
Mhm.
I was thinking about this painting as I watched it today as like a Bob's greatest hits type
Ooh,
of painting,
yeah.
you
Mhm.
know? Because, like you said, it has everything and it has everything really well represented.
Yeah.
It's the kind of classic Bob. I mean, but, you know, all the stuff he sort of normally does, but it's all packed into one painting. This painting feels very full to me.
Yeah. There's a lot he jams into the half hour, and then somehow he's still filling time at the end.
Yeah,
Um
Yeah.
He only needed like 20 minutes for the painting, but he
Yeah.
jammed that 20 minutes as full as possible. So,
I think there's some interesting things to talk about, but just to lay the groundwork, pretty much what you said. It's a blue sky. It's
mhm.
big white puffy clouds.
Yeah.
They become hypnotized. We get a faraway mountain. We get um, I love that he spent some quality time on that more forward mountain because
Yeah.
I think the shadowing on that and the sort of red tinted snow or whatever it
Mhm.
is like some of the best mountain stuff I think we've seen in a long time.
It's, well, before we get there, I do wanna talk about
Okay.
the sky and water. So
Sure.
he does what he typically does, um, where he paints the blue sky and then adds a little bit of green to make the water. Um, and I feel like I feel like he painted Waterworld at the beginning of this. Um,
If only he had painted Waterworld.
yeah, like, this is so
Oh, yeah, I see it now.
if this will load, yeah, this is what he was painting at the beginning here. So
Just basically sky, mountains, and water.
we got blue sky, we got water, and that's where we were at, and I wanted to know where we were going to put a cabin. Um,
And if you look closely, you can see Kevin Costner on a raft drinking his own piss.
that's true.
Yeah.
If he had mentioned that, that's also bonus points.
Oh, man. He would have predicted Waterworld, the film.
Mhm, mhm.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Yeah,
I
if
need to
he
watch Waterworld again.
why? No one needs to watch
I
Waterworld
I've
again.
heard there's a director's cut that's, like, actually makes it 25 to 30% better.
Okay, so 25 to 30% better than what it was originally makes it almost a passable movie.
Well, you know my taste.
Almost.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is right up the Justin movie, alley. It's,
Oh, dude. It's got 2 things in it, water and world.
and not even that much world, it's only the
It's
water, really.
I know. I
Uh,
know. You're telling me.
it's, someone read that script and then
Yeah.
went, "Hey, let's just make it. Let's just make that movie."
Yeah, exactly.
And and no one second guessed it. No one went, no, no one will watch this movie. That's a terrible idea." They just went along with it, and, the rest lives in infamy.
I know, but they couldn't have made me happier. They wrote that script just for me,
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
Um,
Um,
alright, so mountains. Yeah,
Mountains.
we got
Yeah,
those.
and it's I mean, I just can't overemphasize. He does a thing at one point with the palette knife while he's working on the mountain where he's like, "This is how you make it another entity. You just grab some darker color and you just shadow it,
Mhm.
more extremely." And I mean, yeah, it was like all of a sudden we had another layer of mountain there. It was incredible. I was really I mean, from the beginning of this show, I think that's the thing that's still the most impressive to me is just how these big Rocky Mountain style mountains come out of nowhere.
Right. Yeah, and this one so I felt like this one was a little bit different too, um, in in the sense that, like, we've seen him carve mountains in and do a
Yeah.
lot of with the palette knife. This one used a lot more 2-inch brush to
Yeah, that's
push
true.
it back in the distance.
Mhm.
He started with the palette knife, putting in the mountain shape, like he does,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then 2-inch brush to push it back, which was a nice effect. It was a very misty base of a mountain. I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. Misty Mountain. Hop over there. He calls it a big strong mountain. Um let's see. Oh, and I did notice him looking off off to the side at one point in
Mhm.
this episode. I don't think he had a reference painting, though. It almost looked like a glance at the clock because
Yeah.
his time management was almost perfect. I mean, he didn't quite hit it
Mhm.
because, like you said at the end, he is vamping a little bit.
He had, like, 2 minutes at the end where it's like, "And we add another bush?
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
let's add a bush, why not?" Um,
He always sort of reaches that point
yeah.
at the towards the end of an episode where he's like, either he's not gonna finish it, excuse
Mhm.
me, either he's not gonna finish it or he's gonna have to meander for a minute or 2 to hit to hit that mark, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think he was glancing at the clock because it looks to me this time that he was just shooting from the hip and just going on this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, if he wasn't shooting from the hip and he was looking at the reference painting, this is probably the best example of hiding the reference painting we've
Yeah.
ever had.
Absolutely. I mean, it was one glance, that's all I saw was one
Mhm.
glance. By the way, to get to the cabin part, I'm not jumping all the way ahead yet, but just to say, I think he had 6 minutes or so left
Uh,
by the time he's doing a cabin?
yeah, so the cabin, I took time notes here because we set a
Okay.
cabin speed record. I
Yeah.
know we set a cabin speed record. He
Yeah.
started painting the cabin at 21 minutes and 18 seconds of the
There
episode.
you go. Wow.
He finished painting the cabin at 22 minutes 25 seconds of the episode. It was
A
a
little over a
1
minute.
minute 7-second cabin.
Amazing.
Never been done before. Never.
I love
Never will be
to
done by anyone else.
he, he sang himself a little song while he was working on the cabin.
Doo 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 doo.
There you go. Doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. So good. Oh, and he also he had this to say as well about
These cameramen hate me.
yeah, they hate him,
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
cameraman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, when he was, beating that brush.
Yeah.
And they probably did a little bit. Um, I mean, not
Yeah.
majorly, but I do think that there were probably a few of them that went, "Hey, maybe maybe tone it down with the, brush exorcisms a little bit. Let's gently beat the devil out of it,
I don't
for a
really want
while."
this paint thinner in my eyes. Thank you. Well, and
You've
he,
ruined multiple cameras, Bob.
exactly. I was thinking about it too. I was like, to be a camera person on that set, I'm not saying, okay, I'm going to be a little controversial.
Uh-huh.
Bob is pleasant. Bob can be funny. I don't think Bob is like a laugh out loud person
No,
most of
no.
the time, but
Yeah.
I could see there being times when you're shooting him that you have to stifle a chuckle, you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
because you're on a soundstage. So, you're getting paint thinner thrown at you. You're trying not to laugh.
Yeah.
It's a challenging job. I liked this is the clip that you and I talked about, um, where he's talking about making mistakes in a painting
Uh-huh.
and how you should approach that if you're selling them. So I think this deserves a little analysis from the two of us
Well,
about
especially we've
I
talked
watch a lot
about
of people when they first start
yeah.
selling paintings.
yeah, go ahead.
We've talked about last episode. I think maybe it was 2 episodes ago about how we
Yeah,
think Bob really kind of wishes he made money off his paintings instead
yeah,
of
yeah,
doing them for free. Um, so we got more
right.
financial advice from Bob on this
Yeah,
one.
I watch a lot of people when they first start selling paintings, and people will say, you know, you want to sell that painting? They say, yeah, I want to sell that painting, but there's a couple little errors in it. This tree's wrong or those mountains are wrong. Don't tell nobody that. Shoot, you wouldn't buy somebody else's mistakes. Nobody's going to buy yours.
don't tell nobody that.
Bob needed a CNBC show on how to get rich painting. Like I feel like that's what he's focused on this season is, hey, we could make a few multimillionaires out of this show. Let's
Yes,
do it.
I
He's
just love
he's
the
the
way he
Jim Cramer of painting.
the Creflo Dollar. Run up to
Yeah.
the canvas and put down some money. If you don't know who Creflo A Dollar is, you should look him up. He's one of these preachers with the cash, or
Never
used to be.
never trust a preacher with the last name Dollar. Don't do it. It's
It's a
not
good rule of thumb.
it's not a good idea. Um,
A dollar.
yeah, a dollar. Yeah, he I don't know. I feel like someone needs to compile all the clips where he gives financial advice and just put together a tutorial for
Oh
professional
wow.
artists, just
Yeah.
saying follow all this and you'll make
Oh
some
man.
money.
With all the time I have in the world, I might do that someday. But I'm not
That
making any promises. That's a
that's all
lot.
you. That's all you, man.
The ultimate Bob supercut on how to sell a painting.
Mhm. Mhm.
It would get clicks though. Those clicks would translate to nothing, but it would get clicks.
Yeah, well, he didn't give us advice on how to make money
YouTube.
off of our YouTube, just on paintings. So, you know, well, I won't mention mistakes on YouTube's either. So,
He's definitely self-aware of this episode too, that he's just kind of going crazy.
mhm,
Um, because he takes he just makes a few comments along the way that's like, oh well, here it comes. You
mhm.
know, I mean, I don't want to be a broken record. Okay. I
Uh-huh,
think
uh-huh.
people know where this is going, but this he could have stopped
Mhm.
a lot sooner. I mean, I
Oh,
think
oh, yeah.
he doesn't have to. He doesn't care. Obviously, he can do. I think the thing about it is Bob can produce a fantastic looking mountain like that anytime he wants.
Mhm.
He's not precious about these paintings because he doesn't have to be, you know.
Right.
And it's almost like anti his philosophy at this point because he was a traditional painter before. He took all this time and energy and put them into his paintings. And now he's just playing. He's just having fun. He's
Yeah.
mastered enough technique. He can just blow through these anytime he wants. He's not precious about it, right? The
Right.
way some folks are precious about their art. Um, but as a viewer, it's infuriating sometimes, to see something that gorgeous and then just have him just put a bunch of crap around it. I mean, I'm not calling the trees. I guess I am.
You are. You are. Well, okay, so uh, for for those who haven't watched the episode, we need to talk
Yeah,
about the order of this. So, okay, we had sky, we had water, we had mountain, we had a row of evergreens, which were very misty and very nice. And
always
then
good.
on either side, two gigantic trees.
Yes, and
So
those were the
then,
first of many to come.
right, right. Then we finish more water, we add more land, we put a cabin in. Then we add a series of gigantic trees in front of the previous gigantic trees on both sides of the painting. I'm counting right now. I believe it totals 7 gigantic trees that we
Oh boy,
probably really didn't want.
no, no, we didn't. We didn't. Um, yeah, and it's mostly fine. Like it's fine, but it just doesn't have to be. I
Mhm.
mean, I know that's not the point. I know he's trying to, show us techniques and things, but man, when you look at it on its own, you're just like, ah, that mountain is all you really need. And some ancillary stuff around it, of course.
Right, right.
Like I'm
Yeah,
fine with all that.
yeah, I think he even realized, uh, on his mountain or on his, trees that they weren't necessary. Because
Right.
when he painted the first 2, he was talking about, we'll just put a big son of a gun here.
Right.
We'll just do," and it
Right.
was like why not?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as evidenced by this next clip.
We're getting crazy here. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, he didn't know what was going to happen.
No.
He's just riffing. And
No.
apropos to my point, I was going to pull this clip. Apropos to everything I've
And
been
I'm going to
saying.
get a letter. Sure as the devil says, why'd you mess up that painting with all those trees?
Mhm.
There we go. There's another big tree.
Yeah. He's being a real bastard because he knows. He knows. He's like, oh, and here's another one for you right here.
Yeah, why'd you mess up that painting? Well, fuck you. Here's a tree. There you go.
Exactly. Here's a couple more for you. I'll do
Yeah,
what I want.
why not? Uh,
Exactly.
yeah, he's the king of the unnecessary trees, which isn't a title I ever thought I would bestow on anyone, but here we are.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Well, next time when we record, I'll put my lower third, official hater of trees or something. We'll probably get some more
President
bad
of the
reviews.
anti-tree club.
That's me, man.
Mhm. It's
um,
it's
yeah.
not that the trees were bad. The
No,
trees were fine in this episode. They just weren't needed. They didn't add
exactly.
anything.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, and I think, he's great at improvising in this way, but it occurred to me this time, I really think he does that when he's out of ideas. He's
Yeah.
he's reached a point in the painting and he's like, "All right, this is what I'm going to do now."
Mhm.
And I think that's part of the reason it annoys me is because it's like, "Dude, you're better than this."
Yeah.
Like you can, you just don't have to throw these in the mix every single time
Mhm.
the way that you do. So, call me what you will, but I just think the paintings are better without them.
I would
Sometimes, most of the time.
I would agree with you.
Yeah,
But um as people have made it abundantly clear, no one really asked us.
exactly. Well,
We're still going to do it. I don't
yeah.
But you didn't ask. Our opinions are less important to you than they should be.
Look at us as living in the spirit of Bob. He
There you
heard
go.
you, we heard you, and we
Mhm.
just don't care. We're just gonna do
Yeah.
what we want to anyway.
Um, so just
'Cause
deal
we're
with it.
assholes. Yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
Um, I really don't have a lot of other notes. I don't know about you. This
No,
painting
I
is
mean,
is what it is.
all right. So I'm gonna show my notepad here, so you can see the number of notes I have here.
Yes.
A good third of this page are notes about the trees. So so that it doesn't look like you're the bad guy that hates the trees by yourself.
Oh,
I'm going to go through what my notes were on this.
thank you.
So uh, I put he adds land and trees. It's no longer water world. Followed by huge trees, two exclamation marks, and parentheses, big son of a gun. Um, then we have some notes about the cabin. But then in bigger print, taking up two lines, it says bigger trees. Uh, and then mention that the trees might have ruined the painting.
I love it. I just got my payback from the Bob Ross's ghost. My light fell and just about knocked over my special guitar that I have over here.
That'll
So
that'll teach you.
that'll teach me.
Yeah. Um, Also, the ending of the episode, I don't know if this is
Yeah.
just YouTube or if this is really what happened, but it just kinda, like, ended.
Yeah, it didn't have the intro in it either.
No.
Sometimes I think it's the uploads because sometimes we get the music and the title sequence on YouTube,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
this is we always watch these on the official Bob Ross YouTube channel.
Right.
Um, and sometimes we don't, and sometimes we get the end credits, and sometimes we don't. It's just kind of luck of the
So,
draw, it seems.
which Kowalski do we need to yell at to get this fixed?
Do you remember from the New York Times piece? There was a very nice young lady who was working like the front desk at Bob Ross Inc.
Mhm.
I think we need to
I
get in touch with her.
I've thought about her a few times,
Yeah.
when the documentary came out on
Oh,
Netflix
yeah.
and
Yeah.
there was all the internet hate for Bob Ross Inc.
Oh,
There
yeah.
were there were multiple times I thought about her because she seemed like a very nice person,
She did, yeah.
and she didn't screw Bob over. She had nothing to
No,
do with it.
she wasn't
Just
really alive.
thinking about the number of, uh, times she's had to respond to someone who
Yes.
is complaining about it, like, I didn't do it. I'm sorry." I don't- I hate my job now.
All right, Nathan, should we rate this painting?
I suppose. I
You
I
don't want
suppose
to?
it's well, it's that time. It's
Is
what we're
okay.
supposed to do. Before we rate it,
Yeah,
I decided. Okay, so we've rated how many paintings now? 8 billion.
gajillion.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. So I decided I'd pull in an impartial third party
What?
to to tell us what they think about this painting.
Oh, I like this idea.
So my wife was brought into the room, not
Yes.
having watched the episode,
Okay.
and here are her comments.
Great.
She likes the clouds and the base of the mountain and the cabin adds depth. Her
I like it.
official prediction of our score is 16 out of 20.
Okay.
So
Which would
we're gonna
be
see if she's correct or if I have to kick her out of the house for being wildly inaccurate.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
16 out of 20 is an 80?
yeah, it's an 80,
Okay,
which
it's an 80. Okay.
I can see that. I mean, I haven't thought about our actual
Yeah.
scores, but I could see it being an 80.
I guess
Um,
so. Last time we
all right.
loved it, by the way. We loved Evergreens at Sunset, and that got
Oh yeah.
100.
Yeah.
Yep.
This isn't going to be
It's
100.
not going to
It's a
get
very
100.
good painting.
It is.
For those who have just listened to that preamble and had no idea what we were talking about, we rate every painting that Bob Ross does in 5 categories. 4 points available in each category. Bonus points awarded as we see fit. He had the opportunity for a bonus point here. We give bonus points if he tells us a story about a drifter being murdered in a cabin or anything like that. Nothing. He just spent a minute and 7 seconds on that cabin and moved on and neglected the story. So,
Yeah.
um, all right. So our first category, and I have to apologize for this screenshot because there's not a good one anywhere on the internet that's not pixelated.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
it's real bad.
This is of the
But
painting for the folks listening at home and not
right.
watching. That's
Um,
well, I can see it. It's just small. Yeah.
yeah. It's. I mean, I can make it bigger, but if I make it bigger, it gets real.
Ooh.
So we got to look at it from a distance. Well, now it doesn't want to be small anymore. There we go.
There
Okay.
we go.
First category is visual impact.
Yes.
A 4 would be that it has the power to wow the viewer. A 3 is it has a lasting impact on the viewer. A 2 is it holds the viewer's attention. And a 1 is little or no impact to the viewer.
Wow. Well, I have to say, I I don't think it's 4. I certainly don't think it's a 1.
No.
Um, most of the positive I feel on this has to do with that fantastic mountain.
The mountain's
It's
really good.
it's such a standout, and when you've watched as many of these in a row as we have, it's sort of
hmm
like things anything that stands out is like, okay, there we go.
It's getting more and more difficult to wow us.
Yes. Yes.
But do you think this has a lasting impact or it just holds your attention?
I think it holds my attention overall as a painting.
Hmm.
Feels 3 to me. I mean, I
Well, a 3 is a lasting impact.
lasting impact. Oh, 3 or 2.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's a 2. That doesn't seem
Yeah.
fair to me. I think it's a 3 on this one.
I think I would agree with you. It's
Okay.
like it's not wowing me.
No.
I'm not going to tomorrow be sitting at my job thinking, "Oh man, you remember that painting yesterday though? That was crazy." Um but in like 3 episodes when we're talking about past paintings, I might remember this one.
Yeah. Yeah, if we did like some sort of wrap up for this season,
Yeah.
it would
I'm
be
not
it'd be worth talking about.
yeah. So I'd say 3. We'll go
Cool.
3s.
I like 3 on that.
Okay, interpretation and creativity.
Creativity.
A 4 would be that it has effort far beyond that required with great attention to detail.
Mm,
A3 is with more effort, it might have been outstanding. A2
mm.
is it appears unfinished. And A1 is just he took a big old dump on the canvas.
I mean, I'll just say looking at it again right now, the color choices are wonderful. It's so nice and bright. Um, it's a very vibrant painting.
Mhm.
Um, Great attention to detail, I think pretty much sums it up. I mean,
Yeah, I don't
he didn't miss a thing.
right. I don't think there's anything he could add to make it better.
Right.
Um, there might be something he could have taken away to make it better.
Sure. Yeah.
Hypothetically, if we were talking about, I don't know, trees or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think especially he put a lot of effort into the mountains. We
Yes.
didn't even talk at depth about the shading of the mountains
No,
and
but
the
that's the thing.
shadowing. It's
Yeah.
very good.
It's so
Um,
good. If you
so I'd
don't
say a
watch this
4.
whole episode, yeah, I would agree. I'd say 4. If you don't watch this whole episode, just go to like a few minutes in and watch him construct this mountain. It's
Yeah,
very impressive.
honestly, you can start this episode and stop at like the 16-minute mark.
Yeah.
You don't need to see where the rest of the land comes in or the cabin.
Right.
As quick as the cabin was put together, it's not that impressive. It's
No.
fine. Um,
No.
but the mountains were very impressive. So,
Mountains are great. Yeah, they're crazy.
all right. So, composition and design. 4 would be it shows and effectively utilizes the knowledge of the elements and principles of design, and the design filled the entire space. A3 is it shows an awareness of the elements and principles of design, and the design mostly filled the space. A2
Do, do, do.
is the design partly filled the space, and A1 is the design space was somewhat used.
Well,
It's
he,
it's a 4.
yeah, he used every inch of this canvas. I mean, come on, it is packed. It is packed. I mean, he did almost everything.
Yeah. And still had enough time for the last minute and a half to just add more bushes at the foot of the tree
Exactly.
because why not? You got paint,
Yeah,
you got a brush, you have a PBS time slot. You might as well add some
you got
bushes at the bottom.
you have 5 minutes before you need another 4 or 5 cigarettes. You
Hmm.
got time.
Yeah. Maybe that might be why he rushes through these so much.
Oh,
Is
dude,
is he starting to get the jitters, And it's oh man.
he's got the handshakes.
All right, we gotta get going. We gotta get going. Here's a big tree. All right, that covers up a quarter of the canvas. Here's another big tree. There's a quarter of the canvas covered up too. All right, let's go. Come on.
Uh,
Uh,
some poor like PBS intern is over on the side, just like hot boxing Marlboros and blowing them in his direction.
they they have a fan, so it gets all the way
Yeah.
over there.
Or he slaps like 12 nicotine patches on his chest before they start rolling. Pop, 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 pop.
We make all these jokes about his smoking, and one of these days we're going to find out that the pack of cigarettes they have at the Bob Ross experience, it was
Oh
like it was like him just experimenting one time. He was just like, I wonder what these things are all about. Let's check out what these cigarettes people keep
yeah.
saying are all the rage. What their deal is, and
Oh
he never
man.
actually used them.
If they could get away with putting his face on a pack of cigarettes to sell them, they would do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He he would he would be a better advertiser than the Marlboro Man ever was.
There's a movie for you. Bob Ross and the Marlboro Man.
All right, craftsmanship.
Yeah, that's the one.
A 4 is it demonstrates a mastery of skill, and the design is beautiful and complete. A3 is it demonstrates skill, and the design is pleasing and partially complete. A2 is it's fairly neat, and A1 is the design is careless in creation.
Oh, wow. That's a harsh one. Careless
I
in
know.
creation.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're never going to hit a 1 as far as I can tell, but,
No.
um, we don't
I mean,
today.
is there no, is there any reason not to give it a 4 in that category? I just
Um,
it's a quibbles, if anything.
yeah, I mean, would you say it's beautiful and complete?
Oh,
Or would you okay, let's take out the word complete here.
okay.
Is it beautiful or pleasing?
It's pleasing.
Okay, so that's a 3.
That's a 3. I'm gonna say pleasing. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm down with a 3 on this one.
You're good with that? Okay.
Mhm. Um,
Yeah,
criteria. All right, so what do
this
we
okay. Yeah. So I feel a couple of things here. He said he said at the beginning it was gonna put good thoughts in our hearts.
Uh-huh.
And sure, I'm willing to give him that. I do quibble a little with the title. I mean, Mountain Cabin. As you said, this is a 1-minute cabin, and
Mhm.
it is not much of a feature in this painting at all. It is ancillary at best.
That is true. It's,
This
hmm.
painting should be called Mountain Mountain, you know? Like,
Yeah. Also, like, we didn't talk about this, but is that really a cabin?
it's a shed?
Yeah, I mean, if look at it more closely. Here, I'm going to zoom in on this pixelated cabin here. Um, look at that.
Yeah,
That's not
yeah,
a cabin.
that's a glorified lean-to. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
I mean, I don't know. I guess is there a specific definition on how big a structure needs to be before it shifts from shed to cabin?
Well, let me put it to you this way. He would usually put in a chimney,
Mhm. Those are cabins.
uh, put in a window. Yeah, that's a
You
cabin at that point.
you don't have a chimney on a shed. Um,
Exactly.
at least, not in my world. If you're a multimillionaire building a shed, you might put a cabin there or a
Your
chimney
garden
there. But
tools do not need to be climate controlled,
right.
generally. Yeah.
Um, mm, you
So
you brought up an interesting point here.
I don't think I could give him full points on that category. I don't think that's I think I have to dock him a little bit. I think I have to
I
dock
was
him a point. Yeah.
I was going to argue with you, but I think you've swayed me.
Oh, right. That
Yeah.
almost never happens.
I do because I mean, if you look at it, okay, so if we're going with the idea that this structure here
Yeah. Yeah.
is a cabin and there are
Right.
mountains, it is kind of a cabin in the mountains, although
Yeah.
it's a cabin and here are mountains.
I think it
So
could be yeah.
it's more like an adjacent cabin to the
Yes.
mountains.
Yes. It could be
Um,
confused as a cabin.
and I don't know that it's a cabin. So I do think
Right.
like if it was in the mountains,
Like
then
up
I
on the
might
mountainside.
yeah. Or like, you felt like you were those mountains are in the distance. They're a ways
Yes.
away.
They are ways away.
You don't live in western Kansas where you start seeing the Rocky Mountains pop up and go, "Well, I live in the mountains." No,
Right.
you see them from a distance.
Yes. Yes. He could be in, I don't know, Topeka right now
Right.
with this
Um,
situation.
yeah, I think it's got to be a 3.
Okay.
I
I'm in agreement with you.
yeah, I mean, I don't want you to be right.
I
I
know.
want
I know.
Bob to get all the points, but it didn't happen.
Well, yeah. I
It's still a
mean,
good
you are
score
this
though.
it's a good score. It's not quite what she thought.
No, we actually gave him 1 extra point.
Yeah, 17 out of 20, so it's an 85, right?
It's an 85.
Yeah.
Um, so my wife is now banished to the backyard until the next episode when she earns another opportunity to come back in.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah. We have a shed in the backyard, though. It's not a cabin.
It's winter time, so if you want to
Yeah.
stay warm, you better start building a chimney.
Um, no, I mean, overall, it's a good painting. It's just not
It is, yeah.
it's not a great painting. It's fine. It's
No.
I was missing a lot of Bobisms in this
Yes.
episode.
Well, he was just
Um,
working the whole time. I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying. It's like he's just throwing everything at us this time,
yeah,
and
yeah,
there's no room for stories, you know?
yeah. Maybe pull it back and tell us about uh, you know, a cabin that you knew about one time and how it did cabiny things. I don't. Maybe
Yes.
you. That's your opportunity, Bob, to defend your cabin. You can tell us
Yes.
about. Oh, I used to have a little tiny cabin that looked just like this. Um, it was in a mountain range, much like the one I'm painting. And then we'd go, all right, well, he has
Yeah.
experience. He's saying it's a cabin. We'll give it to him.
I used to go up there with Kevin Costner while they were making Waterworld, and he needed a break.
I used to take my many love interests up there and just splash brute everywhere.
Oh, that is a man right there in that brood ad. We can
I
only aspire
know.
to such levels of manhood
I
as
don't
that
I don't
fellow.
I don't think anyone has ever reached that level of real manhood. It's a problem.
Certainly not a couple of jackasses who have a painting podcast.
No, no.
Well, remember, folks, no matter what your level of bruteness is, uh, oh, by the way, you can email us, nothing, no G, but a Bob Thang at gmail.com.
Yeah, or find us on Whatchamahoos at Twitter. We're
X.
calling it no.
Yeah, today. Yeah, whatever we're
Yeah,
calling it today.
whatever it is until it collapses in on itself like a black hole sucking in the universe and ending all of life.
I do think it would be fun if they just started changing the letters so it was A, B, C, D.
I so I don't know if you've seen this. This is a huge side note here.
Okay, all right.
But on the news, when they used to talk about, you can find us on Twitter. They've just altogether stopped mentioning Twitter
Oh,
anymore
okay.
because it's like you can't say, "Hey, X us."
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound right. It doesn't work. Yeah,
Anyway, you can find us
which
on
is
Twitter
yeah,
at Bob_Thang_pod. It is Twitter. It will be Twitter forever. Just deal with it.
yeah, that's right.
Um,
Um,
yeah.
well, yeah. So until we meet once more. Oh, some of you responded when we post a podcast to Spotify, not anywhere else. It gives us this option to like make a question. And last time I said, "Hey, how much do you love Bob?" And people responded with a couple things to
Well,
that. Like
what did they say?
one person said 5, which I'm guessing is out of 5. I'm not sure if that's out of 10, out of 100.
Mm.
And another person, our good friend T, said, so much so that I will listen to a podcast about every one of his paintings. So there you go.
See, I'm a little hurt there because I assumed it was because of us.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just she loves Bob so much that she wants to listen to the podcast, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter who hosts it. Whatever.
We are certainly riding his coattails. Well, just keep that in mind. And
There we go.
remember, there are no mistakes.
Just happy accidents.
Good night, everybody.